The hell is that? Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the 89 Garage. Sorry, I got sweat dripping down my head. Today we're out here at the wrecking yard. I just got done pulling a part that's going to go on Frankie. Okay, the donor is, now we can go see. Oh, 2010 Volvo S40. And it is donating an electric power steering pump to Frankie. They are located up here in this corner. There is a nut you got to take off there. There are 2 bolts. Then you have to unbolt this bracket from here. And you also have to remove, maybe I didn't need to, but it made things easier by removing, can you see that? That screw there. Anyway, this will run at 70% without CAN bus hooked up to it, just power. So that makes these a nice little fit. I'm gonna have to make some mounts for it. That's why I'm bringing all this with me. Anyway, let's go see how much this is. Hopefully I'm not too disappointed. All right, we were about 50 bucks all together in. It's like 52 bucks with tax and all that garbage. Yeah, we get tax here. But anyway, those things run 150 to 200 bucks on eBay, so I feel pretty good about it. I did get up to the checkout, and he said if I wanted the black bracket that was around it, that was like $8 more, and the chances are pretty high that I'm not using that, so I took it off right there, handed it to him, and wound up getting it for 50 bucks instead. And they also charged me for the pigtails. I don't understand it, but anyway, whatever. Alright, I got the CAD out. Cardboard aided design. This here's kind of what I'm thinking to build for a bracket. Just cut that out of some steel. Alright guys, this here, I've been kind of working on this. I came up with a cardboard template, as you saw just a minute ago. It is actually, I don't know, 2 days later, but I made this with that, and maybe we'll get some better bolts to mount these I don't know, isolator bushings, whatever the hell they are. I made this piece here. That line is where I'm going to weld it to this. And I made a couple of gussets go underneath, and I'll weld those down like so. These are the original nuts that came on it. So as you can tell, I'll go from underneath. I'm gonna go match these up over at Cal Ranch or something, but you can tell that this is pretty much too big. Kind of fun fabricating this stuff and dreaming this stuff up in your melon. Alright, went over and got some bolts for this thing to make some studs. This is my keeper, I guess. I just put that nut down there to hold these in place when I weld them. I got them all into position and then tighten those up. But that required me to use a thin one in there. My regular wrench wouldn't fit. Luckily I hang on to these stupid things, but glad I had that. Anyway, this is where those need to be tacked on. Just like so. And let's see. And we got that other metal piece. Where in the Sam Hill did that go? Oh, right here. And then we'll be putting this on like that. I can't get the triangle pieces to stay up and hold this at the same time. But anyway, that's pretty much the gist of what we're gonna do. Then we'll put a couple holes down here in the bottom, and I don't know what I'll end up doing to mount it to the frame. Maybe some riv nuts or something like that. But anyway, yeah, that's the path we are taking. The reason I chose to put the back here is this stuff all goes straight up. I'm really not going to have to ever probably mess with that. However, I do want to have access to this from underneath, and this puts it out of the fender well right here and into, I can get to it probably from the back of the fog lights. That's my thought process here anyway. And as you can see, this is a Fomoco part here. All right, we are in the driver's side fender well. I took the inner fender plastic shield thing, took that out. Anyway, this is where I want to have that pump right there. Is I want to mount it up in here. Kind of looking at this, thinking that maybe those horns might need to get moved, and that's fine. Not a big deal. Really, I only need to move one wire. Looks like we need a little paint, maybe a little POR in a couple places. Honestly though, I don't care that much. What I do care about is getting this stupid thing mounted, and I'd like to make it so somehow, like maybe I could just have to remove maybe that light right there, the marker light, to fill it up. I don't know. Is that possible? Reach up in there, take the cap off here and run a funnel down to it. I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's not something I need to fill up very often. Otherwise I'm doing this for no reason. Because this here is our current situation with the O'Reilly power steering pump that's being belt driven. Less than 500 miles, mind you. I definitely want to mount it to metal. There's some fiberglass kicking around in here that I don't really particularly want to put it on. Man, I'm looking at that fog light bracket, and gosh dang it if that doesn't look like a feller could maybe wiggle it in there somehow. Maybe I didn't even need to take this inner fender out. Let's just while I've been blowing smoke, you know, I looked over there and that looks like a viable option. Let's see if I take this hose off. Give me a minute, I'm going to take that out. Let's see. Would you have a gander? By the way, I did a little research then. It looks like maybe the Fox body factory holes will actually just work on this thing. Man, I think I'm good with that, honestly. Do I got something to hold this up here so I can look at it from your view? I'm gonna have to reroute some wires for the fog lights, but they're not even hooked up right now anyway. Let's see just how good of an option this is. Alright, let's see now. It fits right there. The only thing I'm concerned about is the high line right there. And I don't have any problem cutting that fender a little bit or bending it if I got to. That's my only concern. I mean, the horns stay, everything stays where it's at already, and we just mount it there to right to that bracket, fog light bracket. Let's see. One thing I want to see is, I don't remember the angle. I actually think it's a little bit tighter turn coming off of OEM pump. All right, so there's that right there, and I can easily bend this to a 90 or a little bit into. Yes, sir. That's with one thread in. I didn't really get going on it too far. My goodness, it's all just coming right together, isn't it? All right, up top now, check this out. We got some wires in the way and stuff that can easily get moved. But look where that ends up right there. I mean, I can reach down in there with my hand and I can undo that. That's fantastic. Gosh, I think I have everything that I need, including, I might still have the belt, but I did make a setup like this. Actually, you know what? I think it's on the 8.9 right now. So I'll have to swap this plate out with the 8.9. That's fine. But I made a hole in this plate, and I added a pulley. It's a pulley that came on the Power Stroke that had 2 alternators. I am also going to still run this cooler. I don't know if that's necessary, but I am going to run the cooler for it still. And gosh dang it, I'm happy.
6 hours later.
So I went in and I welded a couple bolts in there, and we're ready to put this thing in. I took out the fog light. Apparently my fog bracket is just a smidge off or something like that. We're gonna have to worry about the level a little bit later. I did slot this one here so I can move it a little bit. So I wanted to confirm that these threads were the same, so I popped this one out and I threaded that bad boy in. This came on. I cut this off to bring it with the pump just in case. Well, I thought I really needed to figure out what size to use, and I was gonna go see the hosers down at Elevated, but I don't need to because that looks like it's gonna work just fine. Dude, I can't believe all this. This is cool.
1 eternity later.
All right, I ended up moving that up higher. I'm also going to brace it from the other side, but it is pretty solid where it's at. One thing I'm going to do, I think, is we are touching right there. Unfortunately, I wanted to have it down a little bit further. I want it to be up this high, but I don't want it really to chatter with that thing there and wear a hole in the top of this. So I'm just going to get some channel locks and kind of bend that. It's not going to affect the integrity or the structure or the value of this car at all because it's Frankie. All right, so I took and bent that up so there's plenty of clearance right there. And then I took this, I don't know what that is, some kind of cover, splash shield, or anyway, I took that, discovered I need those bushings right there. Those are pretty bad, so that'll be coming up soon. But I need to mount this hose up there now. So this here's the return line right here. I need to move that so we can move the high pressure and mount it up here, get it out of the way so it doesn't get snagged on anything. So I'm going to do that right now. That is the return line that goes from the rack, goes through the cooler and back into the power steering pump. That one right there, I'll point to it with an arrow or something here. That goes up to the reservoir on the stock pump. That is going to have to get cut and put over here where that hose clamp and cap is. Then from there it's just wiring, and I got to reroute that pulley up there. I got a little work ahead of me, but really and truly the big part that I was worried about is done. The mounting of this thing is so solid in there that I don't think that it's gonna go anywhere. But we're gonna mount this, something like this up here. Probably gonna hug in around this area here, I think, because we still got to put the inner fender well back in here. I'll be back here in just a second and show you what I do. What I'm doing right now to begin with, though, is I need to get this hose out of the way so I can tack the high pressure up there. All right, there it is, mounted up. This is a 5/8. Let me show you these. Got these off Amazon. Honestly, for this, I probably should have done 3/4. It worked, but this is some stuff I bought to run air hose across the ceiling, and they worked absolutely wonderful for that. I thought it would be good because this says 3/8. I thought, oh yeah, it will be good, but apparently this has a little thicker wall. So on this, I would have gone 3/4 if I was doing it again. Oh, and I did cut that out right there with some tin snips, just so that hose has a place to go. This cut right here was natural hair. Some of these are natural, and I just wanted to cut it out just to do it. All right, we're all golden. So there is our return hose coming out of, well, I guess it's going in to the reservoir, and that is going to be coming from the cooler. I zip tied this to the high pressure line. The high pressure line comes over here into the rack, and I also let this thing kind of hang down right here because the angle of this, I could put it up here, but it kind of kinks it just a hair. So I'm going to let it do what it naturally wants to do. But for right now, that stayed the same length that I had going up to the original pump, by the way. Yes, I know, I'm not a welder by any means, but that is not going to go anywhere. I ordered some anti-spatter spray. It's not here yet. That's tacked on. These are the bolts that hold it up. This here is just a brace, if you haven't followed along. All this here is just my trying to weld. But it ain't going anywhere, I promise. That's our harness right there, hanging off the side. I need to get that thing out of there. I'm gonna try to leave everything how it is. I really don't want to mess with that. I do have some room to get up towards the front of that to access it. I wonder if I can get it from up top even. That'd be interesting to see. All right, that's the biggest one they got. 50 amp. So we're gonna run with it. And if it pops, we'll get a bigger one. Okay, back in the garage. And just to go over this one more time, this is a 50 amp. Volvo actually put an 80 amp on these, but we're going to go with 50 because that's the biggest one they had over there. This automatically resets if it trips. That's why I want to go with a breaker. I don't want to be stuck out somewhere. Same thing I did on my Taurus fan is I used a breaker because if that trips, because it overheats, I can let the car cool down and reconvene. This one here did come with cancer, but I couldn't find one that didn't. So sorry about that. This here's our harness. Obviously red is main power and the black is our ground. I'm gonna cut this open. There was another part of this harness. I think that it went to maybe the AC compressor, something like that. So we're not needing all this junk in there. So I'm gonna cut it apart, get the stuff we need, and I'll show it to you. All right, got it apart. This stuff here we don't need. It had 2 extra wires in that jumbled mess. Okay, we've already gone over power and ground that we need. This here is the key to the success of this setup here. One of the reasons that this thing is so popular with people is because it will run in a default or limp mode, it does that just with switched power. So once you apply the 12 volts to that wire, the pump kicks on. Now, in default mode, it runs, I can't remember if it's 70 or 75%. I'm pretty sure it's 70. But there are some fellers that have made, and these two twisted together are the CAN bus. What these fellers have done is they've made a little circuit board, and you can actually adjust how hard the pump is working with the little potentiometer that's, I think it's just soldered on a board. Quite honestly, I'm not exactly all that interested at this point in time with that modification, but if I need to, I will do it. So this wire here is going to have our let's see, this is gray with a blue stripe, and this wire will be the one that needs to have switched power. That's the gist of what's going on here. I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do with the mounting of this breaker, and we'll get some ground going to it. I did bring the pump back down to get these off because I did not pay attention to how to unhook these wires. I suggest that maybe you familiarize yourself with this here. I had to get that pick right there to bring it up over the lock because it just wasn't clearing that lock right there. So with the pick, it came right off. This here came right off with just pushing right here, and then I actually got this flat head and kind of eased it on up. Let me get started. I need to pull out all my electrical stuff. We'll start creating here, and before you know it, we'll be having power steering on this thing. Okay, we got this thing all crimped up. I'm going to slide this up here, and we're going to protect it with some heat shrink. This is all my wiring stuff. I have everything I need. So this is where we're at. I capped off the CAN bus right here. If I can get this thing to focus. That's capped off right here. And now I've got my other wire hooked up. I don't know where I'm going to tap in yet, so I left it on the roll. And then right here, we got to figure out where this breaker's going to go. So these are just kind of loose, but just an FYI on all of these, this one actually says battery on it, but always the gold is the battery side of the breaker. Another thing I did is I put PS on here so I know it's power steering. I gotta be stupid though if I can't tell that it's right next to power steering, but just in case somebody else gets in here, I got that covered. I'm gonna hold it up probably with these here. That's usually what I do. So I'm gonna put this pump, first I'm gonna plug all this stuff back in, then I'm gonna put the pump back up. I went with a larger hole on this one just because it's a ground, and I'm probably more than likely going to put a bigger bolt in that or find a different home for it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But for now, I'm going to plug all this stuff back in, and this too. And we'll figure out where it all goes after that. I am going to run some wire loom on some of it at some point in the equation, just so it looks more gooder. Okie doke, there it is. All plugged back in. This is why I needed to get that pick, was this thing here just does not move enough to clear that. Maybe it will now that we've... Nope. Still gonna need a pick for that. That's fine, I don't care. So I'm gonna stab this thing back up in there in these upper holes, and yeah, see you in a sec. Okay, we got that thing mounted right there on the frame rail. So this is our trigger. I've got the power going to the pump there. This is the battery power. I am gonna probably put something on this, maybe some shrink tube. Just kind of try to keep that from getting sparkage. But I followed this harness that is existing. It goes to the washer fluid pump, but I followed that all the way out and into here. I just terminated this here so I can hook it. Ooh. That pump's taking a little juice to get going there. I do know that I can follow, I mean, I can go all the way around the back of this because I do have a switched power going to that relay over there that runs this Taurus fan, and I can most definitely do that if needed. Yeah, I'm gonna get me I don't know what that is, can't remember, 1/2 inch 9/16, and we'll attach this, and then we'll worry about doing this, and then I still got to do the ground. So all right, let's go. All right, guys, we are home free. I have switched, coming over to here. It's running through this harness and to right there. I only did that because I already have it here. You probably, well, I guarantee you don't have that, so you'll have to find a different source. I already have it, so I used it. At some point this will be changed. I'm gonna get one of these starter relays that has longer posts on it, but for now that's gonna do what we need it to. I grounded it already. Let's see, I put it on that stud right there. That it has a high possibility of moving as well. I'm not exactly fond of that. I might change that. Probably will. But it was reachable with that wire. I might have to extend that wire. Gosh damn it, the flies are bothering me. Anyway, so for now, I think I'm gonna pull everything out from under this thing. I'm gonna put the wheel back on it. Can you see all the flies? One right here. They're all over the place. I must smell like poop. This thing's installed. I can't start the car though, so I bought some power steering fluid at O'Reilly. All right, let's go ahead and fill her up. Okay. I'm sure it's going to take more than that, but we'll have a look. You can see it's up to the thing there. That's pretty much full right there, but it's got to cycle through the rack and everything still, I'm sure. The rack still had some left in it, but I'm gonna get all this crap out from under here, put the wheel back on. I'll probably leave this inner fender well out for a little while until, you know, we check for leaks and fitment, you know, troubleshooting basically. Okay, it's down on all four. Make sure that I got enough room to spin back and forth. I do. I'm just gonna kick this thing forward and see how it does. I hope I have enough battery. Definitely got a battery problem. It's been sitting for a while. Okay, I want to show you guys this. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Oh, there it is. We're right on the low level. So just a touch more and it'll be good. All right, so we got her filled up. We went back and forth with it. I can't start it and drive it yet. I'm pretty sure we're going to be just fine though. Steering effort seemed very close to factory. So anyway, I got this thing on the charger. The next video will be when we drive it. So the next video, I think, will be me taking this off and just showing you the setup that I have, and then we'll take it for a spin. Unfortunately, that's all I've got for today. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any questions, comments, anything you think I should have done different, put it down in the bottom. I do plan on changing that ground. That is going to happen. So you don't need to tell me about that. It's just a matter of I'm tired. I'll move it another time. I just wanted something quick, and all that stuff was sitting right there, so I used it. And yeah, you know how it is. Anyway, I got her on the charger and it's at 36%. So yeah, she was pretty dead. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, ta-ta.